Now we're going to introduce you to something called dimensional guides, and before we start I'll remind you how the machine works normally. If we place a box in, we always place it at the back and we get it so that it's crossing the sensors. And what the sensors are looking for are edges to the box. And based on that, as you can see on the display, you'll get your measurements. Now the question is, what do you do if you have something that isn't a box? Let's supposing something like this mirror, for instance. Could we dimension this mirror? And we provide free aids that will allow you to do it. Something called dimensional guides. Now what you first of all you have to do if you're going to use dimensional guides is the dimensional guides themselves rest on the platform, and because of that they have a weight associated with them. So the first thing we do with the dimensional guides is we place them onto the platform and they will have a weight. And if we now look at the size, it will see they weigh 0.4 of a pound. So what we do is we go in and we zero. There we go. Everything's zero. We got our blue LED light. And now, with these on the platform, we can start to measure objects, and we know that the weight will be accurate based on whatever it is that we're measuring. Now in the case here, what you have is a little thing with magnets on it. And what we also do is we always have a marking on it for ExpressCube. When you're using the dimensional guides, a good way of looking at everything is that you should be able to read the dimensional guides forwards. That's how you know which side should be facing out, because facing towards you in every direction should be the ExpressCube logo. This slides up and down on here, and then we have left and right guides which simply sit on the platform like this, and we have another guide here. And basically what these are doing is these are extending the reference that the machine uses for measuring things. And if we take that mirror right now and we place it onto the platform, we can slide in our guides. We slide our guides so that they hit the object just on the edge. We do the same here. They're just touching here. We slide a guide down here so it's touching there, and we slide a guide for the width. Now if we come back here and we look at the size you will see an accurate measurement, and we've verified this with a tape measure of what it does. It weighs 0.6 of a pound, and these are the dimensions. So this is a manual method of doing it, but you can achieve things very accurately. And as I say, the good bonus is this comes with the machine at no extra cost, other than the thousands of dollars that are requested by some of our competitors to do basically the same thing. We can measure even the most odd objects can be measured and weighed pretty quickly using this same method. So back to the screen again, and you'll see it's 0.6 pounds, 5 inches by 3 inches by 4.4 inches high. So it doesn't take long to measure. It's a manual method, but what you'll find is that by rule of thumb, everything has to be, it will not measure anything that's less than about 2.5 inches cubed. But it will measure a lot of things, different objects that you would have seen, thought you can't do, and it's very quick. Once you're used to the method of doing it, it really becomes a piece of cake. I think in this I probably don't need the height guide. It seems to be hitting the top right away. Now we do the same thing. We back up here, and there you see 5.6, 5.4, and you can see Now, even though this appears to be a round bowl, if you look closely, it's actually in a slightly elongated box, which the machine has picked up. We can do different things. Another one is even a baseball. Put the baseball in. Now on the baseball, the one thing that's going to be a little tricky here is the baseball actually has seams, so it's not exactly perfectly round, because it's almost impossible to get it without a little bulge occurring on the seams, I've noticed. And we place that in, go back to the screen again, and what you're seeing is 4 inches by 4 inches by 3.8 inches. So that's within 0.2 of an inch, and the reason is simply because of the stitches on the ball, which I can show you in the screen what I'm talking about. On the ball itself, you'll see that there's a little raised edge, and that's why we saw 1/10 of an inch. But you can see this is a very, very simple way of getting accurate measurements on a variety of odd shaped things. And the good thing is with this machine, these guides come with the machine. All our newest machines since the beginning of January of 2016, all our machines include these guides. And if you're doing warehouse management, you just separate these odd objects that you want to do, and you can set them up. Let's keep that bright for you. What I would suggest, if you are doing objects, you keep them all together, and then once you go back to doing squares or boxes or whatever, you just have to remember to change the settings on it. We even had oddball bottles and all kinds of things. It's a very simple method, and as I say, it doesn't cost you anything on the machine to do it. What I'll warn you, this is not designed for commercial use. This is for warehouse management systems for doing it. I don't have anything extra. What I'll do is right now, I'm going to go back to the boxes. So the important thing to remember is that when you do, you take everything back off again when we're ready to do our regular measurements. And you'll see that this thing, you don't have a blue light with an empty platform because we just removed this. We're at the -104. We click it. And now we zeroed, and now we're ready for doing boxes again. So this is a good system. It's very reliable, at least for doing sizes. It's not for doing any small sizes, but it's a free, the dimensional guides are free. They come with the system. And so if you choose to use them, they're great. There's a couple other things too, which we'll go into on the size it. There are other ways of getting dimensions on particularly very small items, stacks of books, items that are packaged together. You want to do single individual ones. We tackle that in software. Again, one of the benefits of working with the programs that are in software is they do give you a lot of shortcuts that you can use for using with the system. That will be on a future video on the size it too.